Hey guys, it's Houston Trong from thetradingedge.org. Just giving you a quick video here today about the stalled rally towards all-time highs. So, newsflow came out this morning and throughout the day about possible tariffs by Trump on the EU and Europe, and that's definitely put a little bit of a hamper on the rally to the all-time highs. So let's take a look and see what that looks like. So if we look at the VIX here, and this is what we've been talking about on the weekly video, is that because we had that break to the downside on Monday, what we didn't want to see happen was that we didn't want to see it go back into the range. That's exactly what happened today. So I'll just maximize the daily chart here. So on the daily chart, I'll just point out right here that this is what we saw happen on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Friday we had that break to the downside, right? And I said this thing really has to keep going. Because if it comes back into this range here, which is what it did today, it got back into here, 28.36. Now, there's a possibility that it comes back through the top of these pivots again. So this purple line is the weekly open, and that orange line is the monthly and quarterly open. So now it's quite likely and possible that we now come back through this range here, taking up possibly this pivot and that pivot there. That would that this has the resistance line right here, the monthly open, so that might hold things back a little bit, but certainly right now the pivots are those two that to be watching. So the high there is 29.06 and 29.29. We do have FOMC tomorrow, so expect some volatility to show up. So by tomorrow afternoon, these pivots could be once again be in play. If we take a look on the 4-hour chart, this is what it looked like, right? So if you recall my 4-hour chart from the weekly video, we've had this broadening formation drawn in, these two red lines for a while now, and you can see we bounced right off that line, right? So right off that line this Monday. So we had that outside bar and down. So we had that outside bar and down. So this low here was 27.82, and we had a low here of 27.81. So it's just a slight lower low by 1 penny. And it could not break below that level of support. The issue here becomes, once it goes outside and down, if this high gets taken out, which is what happened today, it gapped up, then they're going to go after that pivot there. And then there's that gap we talked about. They went after the gap now. So the gap filled that. That's gap filled. Now all the indices that had gapped up on Friday, they've all been gap filled. And so now the question, once again, remains, how far does it go up now? So does it go up and take out this pivot high, which is the high I talked about on the daily chart, 29.29, because that's the exact same pattern, right? Outside bar and down, and then it's coming back up to take out that pivot. There's your monthly open. So that's the pivot to watch, 29.29. There's a very high degree of likelihood that thing gets at least touched or tapped. Not saying we rally a lot higher, but certainly that's the pivot in play right now. We want to be watching that as a level that's gonna possibly be in play sooner than later. All right, hope that helps. Just keep your eyes, again, peeled on that level. Same thing with the indices. They all look kind of the same. So you want to see how the market reacts to these levels, that monthly open, and that pivot there, and to see if they offer any meaningful levels of resistance. If not, again, VIX could go higher and come back up potentially through the range again, and that would definitely delay the rally to all-time highs. So things are looking a little bit more like a pullback now. We have a few of the stronger names getting weak. For instance, semis are getting weaker today, but FOMC is tomorrow, so anything could happen. So it's really too early to say this is the end of the rally. So let's wait until tomorrow and reassess things and see where things go from here, because on the grand scheme of things, again, it's important not to lose the trees, or the forest through the trees, is that we're still going into highs, right? Look at the weekly charts on something like the Qs. Look at the monthly chart. We're nowhere near taking out the lows of this weekly bar from last week. So it's hard to say this is the beginning of something big until it turns around. Now this here, I do want to point out, is something significant. So right now, the Qs is out of all the indices is still trading inside day. Okay, so all this chop, and I'll just zoom in here to a lower time frame. All this chop, what's a 30-month chart? Excuse me, 30-minute. All this chop you see here today is all inside day action. So that's the kind of chop you can expect when you don't have a clear break outside of the previous day's range. So the issue here now becomes this. So if we really want to be watching tomorrow, which way this inside day breaks. So we have 45 minutes left roughly in today's session for April the 9th. So it'll probably remain inside day unless something changes in the last 45 minutes, which it could, and then you'll need to reset and reassess things. But if it remains inside day, then you want to see which way that breaks, because depending which way that breaks, that's going to give you your bias. Right? So if you get a break to the upside, then that's a very clear possibility to go back to all-time highs. However, if you break the downside, as you know, you want to watch for that pivot there and then subsequent pivots further down. Okay, so hope you had a good trading day. Happy trading tomorrow. Keep watching those levels and the FOMC. Happy trading.